need a better effort out of their defensive line than they got in the season-opening loss to Georgia Tech. ESPN college football analyst Sam Acho.
Florida State has to get back in their gaps in the run game and move when linemen move on offense. Here's what I mean by this. Last week, Georgia Tech ran for 190 yards. Boston causes the same kinds of things when it comes to the run game as Georgia Tech does. And what we saw from Florida State is we saw players miss tackles, we saw players out of position, and we saw players with bad technique with their eyes. And that's the issue that actually can be solved.
BC tonight plays its first game under new coach Bill O'Brien. Georgia edge rusher Michael Williams, considered a potential top 5 pick in next year's NFL draft, has a grade 2 ankle sprain, is questionable Saturday against Tennessee Tech. NFL Chiefs place running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the non-football injury list. He'll miss the first 4 games of the season until he's eligible to return.
Hi, this is Evan Cohen. Join us Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern for Unsportsmanlike. Week 1 of the NFL season is here. DeMar Chase still not practicing. Where is Hassan Reddick? We'll get all of the inside info leading into Thursday night's opener with Adam Schefter. Tuesday, 6 a.m. Eastern on Unsportsmanlike. ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Welcome in. Monday edition, Labor Day edition of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. The boys are on a flight back from Las Vegas. It's a familiar flight that they've taken plenty of times. This will be a familiar show that we've had plenty of times, now 5 years in a row, as LSU drops their 5th straight season opener in the last minute, this time to USC 27-20. We'll get into that plenty today. Jacob Beck here, and Paul O'Neill as well, and you got me for 3 hours. So buckle in. It's going to be a lot of LSU football, the good, the bad, the ugly from Sunday night, and there's just a lot of different angles to explore, and we'll do that for the next 3 hours. Matt's back in the chair tomorrow. We'll probably try to mix in a thumbnail on the New Orleans Saints because it is game week for the Saints, and if I actually have to talk about LSU USC for 3 straight hours, I might go insane. But if we're just going to look at it here from the jump, I kind of want to take it this way. I want to start with the game itself, and then kind of throughout the show sprinkle in thoughts on everything else that made up the game. Take it kind of, part by part individually, because y'all, there's a laundry list of things to go through, whether it's points left on the field in the red zone, whether it is Kyron Lacey not catching a football in the second half after going for damn near 100 yards in the first half. It is your time of possession just shrinking. Where'd the offensive rhythm go? There's defensive improvement that I want to talk about. Like, that's part of the good. I thoroughly enjoyed, for the majority of that game, watching Blake Baker's unit. They did a lot of very good things. Were they perfect? No. Were they, far and away the best defense ever? No, and they weren't going to be. Do they have things to improve on still? Absolutely. But was it a giant step in the right direction? Of course. We'll let you hear plenty from Brian Kelly. He had a very polarizing post-game press conference last night where there was some emotion that, quite frankly, we're not used to seeing from Brian Kelly. So there's just a lot to go through. We could talk about future scheduling. I know that's a conversation once again here today, as it has been the previous 4 years that LSU has lost the season opener. It's deja vu. We know how this show goes, so let's just dive right into it. And like I said, we'll start with the game. So there's a very clear demarcation in this game for me where it changed. I thought in the first half, LSU had a great offensive rhythm. Nuss, Sloan, they came out. They were in lockstep from jump. Nuss was very decisive with the football. LSU moved it. Did they cash in every opportunity? No. But they moved the ball, and you could see, okay, they're like a well-oiled machine right now. And that goes away in the second half. And where you really saw that was with time of possession, and that came back to bite you huge, as did the points you left on the field in the red zone. I mean, look, I think what Brian Kelly said after the game rings very true, where it was when he slammed his fist on the desk and said, we're sitting here talking about the same things again. And that's what makes this so tough to swallow. It's 5 straight, but it's 3 straight under Brian Kelly. And in those 3 straight, the same issues have bled over into each game. I mean, you remember how the game started last year against Florida State? You got stopped at the goal line on 4th down. How'd this one start? You got stopped on the goal line at 4th down. You want to be aggressive? That's fine. I'm all for you being aggressive. You moved the ball down there effortlessly. It looked like they hadn't stopped you. Fine, I can get that. But also in the same vein, this happened to you last year. 3 points matter. Like, field goals matter. They are worth something still in the game of football. But again, I get it. You get down there, you want to get the 7. You want to pay it off. You want to set the tone, and that would have. But ultimately, you get turned away again. And then the other main similarity, or I don't even really want to call it a similarity, but the other part that was just reminiscent of last season's opener against Florida State was the clear demarcation that I mentioned earlier where this game changed. And that was late in the 3rd quarter. So LSU had just taken the lead in the game. If you remember, they're up 17-13. It was the 13 or 14-yard pass to Aaron Anderson that put LSU on top where the 2 USC DBs collided with each other, and it was a little out to Anderson, and he just took it up the sideline and ran past the dudes that ran into each other and scores the go-ahead touchdown for LSU at 17. It's 17-13 at that point. And from there, LSU forces a 3-and-out on the next possession. And you get the ball back with a chance to take a 2-possession lead. And LSU turns it over after 5 plays. And a drive that took less than 3 minutes. You give the ball back to USC. They put together a little bit of a drive, but your defense bows its neck again and comes up with a stop turnover on downs. That was when you had the deflected pass in the air, and Whitweeks jumps up, looks like he intercepted it, then looked like he almost had possession and fumbled it, and it would have been the break of all breaks for USC. But ultimately, it's a turnover on downs. The problem there is you had your second inexcusable unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game where Major Burns, a veteran player, takes his helmet off in the field of play. And that backs you up from being right around midfield turnover on downs to your own 21-yard line. And from there, LSU would go 3-and-out. But you still had the ball with a chance to take the lead, to make a 2-possession lead. And you go 3-and-out, -7 yards in a drive that took less than 2 minutes. So in that time where you stop USC twice and have 2 chances to make this a 2-possession game late in the 3rd quarter and potentially go a long way towards icing this victory, you ran 8 plays, went totally backwards on 3 of them, and didn't even equal, or maybe equaled a little bit more of 5 minutes of possession. So while your defense is stepping up, you keep throwing them back out onto the field quickly, and it was only a matter of time until they broke a little bit. And they finally did. And that was very reminiscent of last year's game early in the first half against Florida State, where that LSU defense in 2023 stopped that Florida State offense 4 times in a row, and the game just remained tied at 7. And you'll remember the last stop that LSU got, they finally converted into a touchdown and took a 14-7 lead in that game against Florida State. The problem with that was when you gave the ball back to Florida State on the ensuing kickoff, you never stopped them again in the game. And the same thing happened last night against USC. When LSU gave the ball back to USC after their 3-play -7-yard drive, they never stopped USC again in the ballgame. Touchdown to take the 2017 lead, and then the touchdown that Woody Marks punctuated with the run to take the 27-20 lead, and ultimately that was your final score in the end of the ballgame. Brian Kelly, after the game, talked about that sequence of having a chance to put the Trojans away, but his team lacking a killer instinct.
Unfortunately,
It's clear that when we get up in a game, we do not know how to handle ourselves. You got to have a killer instinct in this game. You got to put teams away. We had an opportunity to put this team away, and we get complacent. We make more mistakes when we're ahead instead of having a better focus and a steely-eyed killer instinct, and that's disappointing. And so I'm angry at those things that I have to do a better job in shaping that in this group.
One more from Brian Kelly. This is the cut that went viral of him banging the table, and I wanted to play the one about the killer instinct, this one, and then give some reaction. So this was the cut that everybody's talking about from BK.
We had some guys played their butts off tonight, and we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things, about not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous.
So there's a couple things I want to talk about based off that. One, Brian Kelly's been getting a lot of flack for those comments where people look at him kind of, for lack of a better term, coming down on the players, I guess blaming players there. But in each of those cuts, he mentioned him having to do a better job. And yeah, he does. Brian Kelly makes a lot of money. And Brian Kelly's not going anywhere. We all know that. You're locked in with him, for better or for worse. Let's go. But at some point, when you've hit 3 of these in a row under him, 5 total, that I have to do something better, I have to coach better, starts to ring hollow. It just does. And when you look at year 3, and we're going to talk year 3 plenty today, because boy, haven't we just honed in on that. Year 3 is when Brian Kelly's teams take the next step and the program really takes off. It's everywhere he's been. You've heard that refrain over and 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 over again all offseason. Really, since Brian Kelly's been hired, you've heard that refrain. And here you are at the start of year 3, and you're talking about the same things in the opener over and over and over and over and over again. And then you hear, we have to coach him up better. I have to do better. And like I said, that just begins to ring a little hollow. Not to say that they won't coach him up, because they will. LSU will get better. Of course you will. LSU's going to make plenty of improvement from week 1 to week 2. Yes, they're playing Nichols. They're going to boat race them, and who cares? But you will see improvement there. But when you look at year 3 and everything else you heard about the culture being where they wanted it, I'm not saying that LSU has bad culture, but they opened the door for this when talking about that all offseason. And then you immediately hear the head coach after saying, you have a chance to put a team away, you lack killer instinct, and you're on the sideline thinking the game's over. That's not what anyone wants to hear to inspire confidence. And here's the thing. Until LSU can figure out how to purge some of that in camp, openers are going to continue to be hell for this team and this program. They're past the point where you get the benefit of the doubt. You've lost 5 in a row now, and you're staring down a trip to Clemson next year. That's a long way away. I get it. But in the context of just talking openers right now, anyone feel confident about that? They have to figure something out to have this team ready to go in every phase of the game for an opener. LSU, from a yardstick perspective, played well. Well enough to win. LSU, from a discipline perspective, was not ready to play in this opener. And yes, that falls on the coaches. And it starts with Brian Kelly. And he knows that. So, back to the drawing board. But man, 5 years in a row, it's just been the same song and dance right now. And it's frustrating for everybody. No one more than the people in that building, and I understand that. They want to win more than anybody else. But, y'all, there was a time in the not so distant past where non-conference regular season games, you took a Sharpie and wrote a W on the schedule for LSU, and it wasn't like you were playing directional school U every time. You were playing Oregon. You were playing Virginia Tech when they were great. In the early 2000s, Wisconsin's, like, you were playing TCU, great teams. You need to get back to that, and a lot of it I do think is a mindset. Especially when the head coach is sitting there telling you, we're on the sideline with a chance to put a team away, and feels like everyone thinks the game's over. We'll see. We got a lot to go through, like I said, off the top of the show, but that's it, man, right there. So LSU loses 27-20. You had two chances late in the third quarter to try and make it a two-score game. You couldn't do it. You didn't stay on the field very long at all anyway. So we'll keep going through it. I want to talk about Garrett Nussmeier because I thought Nuss had a really good day. A few throws you might want back, but ultimately we learned something about Garrett Nussmeier. I'm actually fired up to have that conversation. When we come back, I do want to inject a little bit of some more positive spin in here. I want to talk about Blake Baker's defense because they checked a lot of boxes that I wanted to see in the opener, and I want to go through that a little bit next. Stay here. It's AFR, Musso in for Moscona, Monday show presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
We're brought to you by Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com. You want an automatic, a Generac automatic home standby generator? Let me rephrase. Of course you do. So why should you go with Optimize? 2 reasons. Number 1, the affordability. They have financing options to fit any budget, and you get your upfront quote price, meaning whatever they quote you on site. It's not like they're going to come back later and there's going to be fees and install fees and techs and no. Whatever that number is that they quote you, boom, that's it. Turnkey installation. When they're done, it is ready to roll if the power goes out. Number 2, that's all they do at Optimize. They're not a business, an electrical business that does 10 different things. They do one thing. They sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. They got 4 locations across the 10-12 corridor. So it doesn't matter if you're in Lake Charles, Slidell, or any point in between. They are Louisiana's number 1 Generac dealer. Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com. Easy website, generatorpeople.com.
All right, a Monday edition of AFR continues to roll on here, presented by Relief Windows. Musso in from Moscona. The boys are flying back from Vegas, so they'll all be back tomorrow in their normal slots. Here on the lineup. If you're watching on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, greatly appreciate it. Y'all smash the like button, share it out too if you wouldn't mind. We kind of got going a little bit there in the first segment. Quickly forgot to give Bud Light their shout out there. So Beck, if you would start the show.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
One segment late, but get it in there. Appreciate the folks over at Mockler. All right, so we kind of went through the game there a little bit in the first segment. I want to talk now about Blake Baker's defense. And when you look at this just in the macro, LSU's defense against USC on Sunday night, there's a lot to like. Is there still things that need to be cleaned up in certain areas? Yes. Like you gave up a lot of chunk plays. Right, USC was able to really get yards in bunches. But again, that's not necessarily a surprise. It's kind of what Lincoln Riley's offenses do. You know he's going to be able to scheme something up here and there to have those chunk plays. What you didn't see were guys just running completely free because of a blown coverage 20 yards open like you did in 2023. So that's impressive. Like that's something that I would take and be like, okay, yes. But there were 3 things really that I was looking for when it came to LSU's defense. And I did this on LSU Daily the Friday before the USC game. So if you haven't subscribed to LSU Daily, please also do that. That would be greatly appreciated as well. Went through it from the defensive perspective. 3 things that I wanted to see. 1, improvement on third down. In the last 2 openers, both of them against Florida State, LSU allowed 64% conversion on third down. I said, can you cut that in half? Like, I'm not sitting there telling you go out there, you have to hold them to, 1 of 10 on third down. That's not realistic, especially against the Lincoln Riley offense. But can you cut the 64% in half? If you do, you're probably going to like what you see from the defense and like the results of the game. Well, LSU held USC to 3 of 9 on third down Sunday night. 33%. They cut it in half. And they looked better defensively because of it. Now, you didn't like the result of the game, but that's a separate story. So check a box there. I thought you were able to get really good pressure on third down for the majority of the night. Would you have liked to see more of Harold Perkins there? Sure, especially after he blows up that one play right at the mesh point very early in the game. It looked like, man, that's going to set the tone. And you didn't really see him in the backfield much more after that. But Harold Perkins ultimately still ended up being your leading tackler in the ballgame and did make an impact. And I think you'll see that evolve as you continue to go forth, how how Blake Baker will be able to use him more in the defense and get him involved more on third down. But I thought Whit Weeks had some nice rushes on third down. Obviously, Braden Swinson. So, I mean, I thought you were really able to capitalize there when you needed to. And it's great to see because we heard so much about, the Prowler front, especially at the end of last week. It was a huge talking point. So check that box. I thought that was great defensive improvement. Now, can you build on that? Third down was such a bugaboo for LSU last year. Is this better? It was Sunday night. Now you go forward. Another thing was in the secondary, not just guys not, running free down the field behind the defense, but making plays on the football. And LSU did that very well. Where you look at a guy like Ashton Stamps early in that ball game, it was the drive where USC took the 10-7 lead on the field goal. And Ashton Stamps made that great play on Kyron Hudson, where, first of all, the receiver interferes with Stamps, totally pushes off. He stumbles, but sticks with the play and breaks the pass up. Just a huge effort play from a guy who you heard so much about in camp as cornerback one, and that's the type of play that shows you, yeah, he can be that. I thought P.J. Woodland, after the pass interference call he comes back on the very next play, has the short memory, and makes a great play on the ball. You flew in and broke up 2 screen passes. One of them was Jordan Allen. Got your hand on both. Looked like you could have had interceptions there too, but ultimately couldn't. But you blew the play up. Thought that was fantastic. LSU in all had 7 passes defensed in that ball game against USC. You made very, very good plays on the football going forward. And you take that. And the other thing is, too, you saw LSU rotate so many guys in at DB, not just at cornerback, at DB in general. I mean, you saw Jordan Allen, Jordan Gilbert, Kylan Jackson got in there as well. You saw Jair Brown, P.J. Woodland, Sage Ryan, Ashton Stamps. What was that, 7, 8 guys that I just named right there? They really rotated a lot of depth in there as well and got a lot of guys experience in a big game. So, like the plays you made on the football. Again, you had a few missed tackles here and there. You allowed more chunk plays than I think you would have liked. But all in all, success there. So I say they checked that box for me. And the third thing I wanted to see was your defensive line, and specifically the interior. Because I know anytime I filled in here for Matt, and we've talked about it anytime, LSU Daily, whatnot, the interior of the defensive line was my biggest concern spot for LSU. And I thought Gio Paez played a really solid game. He was in the backfield plenty. We already kind of talked about the edge pressure that you were able to have, and we're going to talk plenty about Savion Jones because he was awesome. But ultimately, when you look at this, you held USC to 72 yards rushing. Now, the problem with that is, and where you still need improvement, is when USC had to get those yards, they were able to get those yards up the middle. So that's really where you want to see continued improvement there. And that's what we talk about where, yes, the defense played well, but there is room for growth. That's still one of the big areas. But ultimately, when I look at that, again, in the macro, you held a very veteran 3-down running back down in Woody Marks, and you held a team to 72 yards rushing. Now, again, in the micro, when they needed those yards, they were able to be more physical, push you back, and get them. But ultimately, and you saw JVR Suggs make a couple plays as well, getting his hands up. Ultimately, I'm not going to say I feel just, tenfold better about the interior of LSU's defensive line, but they showed me something Sunday night where I can go forward and go, okay, let's see if you can continue to improve week by week there. You didn't lose the game, right? They held their own. And that's ultimately what you wanted to see. Hold your own. Don't just get shoved back all game. And that definitely didn't happen. So impressed there. Overall, from an energy standpoint, that stood out too. And you had heard so much about that from the players. talking about energy, and it's just up. It's different with Blake Baker in there, and that was noticeable. They were flying around out there, and that was great. Pass rush improved as well. You got 2 sacks in the game. The one thing, aside from continued improvement on the interior of the defensive line, LSU's got to cash in on these turnovers a little bit better. LSU had a chance for 4 turnovers last night, didn't get any of them. You forced 2 fumbles and couldn't fall on the ball. And then, like we said on those screen passes, you just missed interceptions. So going forward, I mean, how much does that change the game? And again, a little bit of that is luck. Just fortunate bounces for USC. LSU was in position to make those plays. They just couldn't finish them off. Going forward, you'd want to see that look to improve as well. But, man, look, I liked what I saw from Blake Baker's unit a lot, and it's encouraging. I'm excited to watch them continue to grow, and I feel really good about them just continuing to improve. The other thing I will say is, we mentioned it kind of with P.J. Woodland, the short memory, but the whole defense Sunday night had a short memory. USC 3 times had these big chunk plays, got in the red zone, and LSU bowed their neck. It resulted in 2 field goals and then the missed field goal as well. One of them was the sensational one-handed grab play by Hudson, and then you had the kick return by Branch as well mixed in there. And then it was the long catch and run by the tight end as well. And you bowed up, and you count those as wins. So, like, it was a very much bend but don't break, but ultimately they were just out on the field a little too long and broke there in the second half. But a lot to build on for LSU's defense. I thought a really solid debut for Blake Baker's unit. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC, and then we'll work towards closing out hour number 1 here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. We tell you every single day. Hey, look, I always encourage you to go follow Clegg's on Facebook. They do a great job of updating their content there regularly, so when they get a new shipment of flowers or plants, they generally will post them there. If there's a new product they get, I'll tell you, we had Drew's birthday party this past Saturday, and of course, it's a swim party, it's outdoors, and one of the things that I know I had tremendous peace of mind about is we weren't going to have mosquitoes. They've got the Aeon Mosquito Eradicator. You've heard me talk about it for years. It's like the size of a track baton. You take the top off, fill it with water, shake it up, hang it on your property line. Boom, you're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. It's over at Clegg's Nursery. So get them by and say, hey, what's the mosquito thing that Moscona always talks about? You'll find it at any location of Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at ReliefWindows.com.
Back here after further review on a Monday. If you want to chime in, you want to have your thoughts heard, go ahead and get into the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, or you can tweet me at Musso Matthew. Send me any feedback, any reaction you have to Sunday night's game, LSU, USC. I unfortunately don't have access to the text line, so you can't really do it that way today, but plenty of ways to get involved, and would love to hear your thoughts. Smash the like button, 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. If you're watching there, that's greatly appreciated. We'll go around the SEC here in a second. One other thing that I did want to kind of, spend a little bit of time on, the penalties for LSU on Sunday night. 10 penalties for the Tigers, and you were looking at 99 yards in those. And the thing about them is they were preventable, and they were just the type of penalties that make you want to pull your hair out. And Brian Kelly, after the game, this is number 4, Beck, when talking about the penalties, talked about how it caused him anger really for the first time.
Yeah, I think it's the first time since I've been here that I'm pretty angry at our football team. And from a big picture, we didn't play complimentary football. When we did some good things on the offensive side of the ball, we didn't complement that defensively, and vice versa. But the thing that is most concerning for me are the personal fouls, the penalties that are selfish. Both of them led to scores, and they're undisciplined penalties. And effectively, they fall back on me. We take pride in running a disciplined program, but, we have clearly not done a good enough job there because it impacted the game.
They both led to scores, and they're by veteran players, and that's what's tough. I mean, the unsportsmanlikes, of course, on Kyron Lacey and Major Burns, and you had the targeting personal foul there that led to a score late with Jordan Gilbert. That is frustrating in and of itself. but the pre-snap penalties as well for LSU. Of the 10 penalties, 5 of them were pre-snap. All of that can just be prevented. And that's kind of something we mentioned in the first segment, where it's like you look at LSU and from a yardstick standpoint, in a competitive standpoint, yes, they looked prepared to play, more prepared to play than they have been in past openers, but just from a discipline standpoint, that really lacked for LSU. And that's not something that we've really been accustomed to so far under Brian Kelly. So that's something to keep in mind going forward. I don't know if it was just the emotion of the game, of the atmosphere, really what kind of got into everybody there. But Brian Kelly, when he said it best there when he said it's selfish. And that is what it is. The touchdown's more important than the touchdown celebration. The 7 points and the field position that you gave up after that looms a lot larger than the dance. I want everybody to have fun. I think it adds a intrigue to the game in a sense. Maybe intrigue's the wrong word, but it adds a certain element of, it gets you amped. But there's a time and a place for all those kinds of things. And it bit LSU badly on Sunday night, those penalties. So I would expect that to be cleaned up in a hurry come this weekend when the Tigers host Nichols. All right, it's after further review here on a Monday. Of course, brought to you by Relief Windows. We do it every day about this time. It's around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Florida Gators.
Graham Mertz, if you were watching the Miami-Florida game, Graham Mertz left that game with a concussion. That led to DJ Lagway, the true freshman, entering the game. He was 3 of 6 for 31 yards and an interception, also 4 carries for 20 yards. And on Monday, Billy Napier confirmed that DJ Lagway will take first-team reps this week for the Gators as Graham Mertz deals with that concussion. Lagway, the number 1 quarterback and number 3 overall player in the country for the class of 2024. They're not saying he's going to start yet. Still remains to be seen. We'll see how Mertz goes through concussion protocol. Florida hosts Samford on Saturday.
Texas A&M!
Rough news out of College Station. Starting center Mark Naboo left their game against Notre Dame with an injury. Mike Elko confirming on Monday it is a torn ACL, so Mark Naboo will miss the remainder of the season. A&M down their starting center. Junior transfer Kolinua Fayu. Kolinua Fayu was listed second on the depth chart for the opener. He obviously is the candidate to slide into that spot.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
More injury news here in the SEC. Wide receiver for Oklahoma, Jaleel Farouk, suffered a broken foot in Friday's game against Temple. Brent Venables confirmed that to reporters. He will undergo surgery and be out 6 to 8 weeks. Left the game in the first half after a long reception. It was his only reception in the game, a 47-yarder from Jackson Arnold. He's coming off the biggest year of his career as a junior. Career high 694 yards, 2 touchdowns. I was expected to play a bigger role, but that has now been put on hold.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Caden Proctor, week to week with a shoulder injury. No long-term concern, says Kalen DeBoer. Matt Zenitz of 247 Sports and CBS Sports was the first to report it. Proctor, of course, you'll of course remember, very interesting offseason for him. Transferred to Iowa, then returned to Alabama after spring practice. Was the starting left tackle all of last season, but had to fight for the job with Elijah Pritchard. He is week to week with that shoulder.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Michael Williams left the game against Clemson with a lower leg injury. Kirby Smart, after the game, mentioned that the x-rays were negative and that it's an ankle. He had an update on Monday. Grade 2 ankle sprain, stable, says Kirby Smart. Michael Williams week to week. Of course, Georgia has a layup this week, so he's questionable for this, but Kirby did say it's not long-term for one of the best defenders on the Georgia team in Michael Williams.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
You guessed it, injury updates from Sam Pittman. 2 of them. Andrew Armstrong, the Hogs' leading receiver from a year ago, questionable for the game against Oklahoma State here in week 2. Did miss the opener. As we said, led the Hogs in 12 games last year with 764 receiving yards. And then starting left guard Patrick Kutas is doubtful. Also did not play in the opener. Started all 9 games last season before going down with an injury. He's in his 3rd season at Arkansas. Doubtful for the game against Oklahoma State.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And lastly, Tennessee edge rusher Emmanuel Okoye out for the season. Torn ACL. Austin Price on 3 with the original report there. Began his career as a tight end last summer. Came over from London in the NFL Academy. Didn't find traction at tight end. Moved to the defensive side of the ball and started to find some footing. But it's a hit to the depth mainly for Tennessee as Emmanuel Okoye out for the year with a torn ACL. That is around the SEC. This is after further review. Musso in for Moscona. Hour number 1, almost in the books. We've talked plenty LSU football here so far on the show, and we're going to continue to do that. We will step to the Saints to close out hour 1. It is game week. Saints-Panthers Sunday to kick off the 2024 slate. There are a few notable things to come out of Saints practice today as they begin prep for Carolina that I did want to touch on, but it will be a brief thumbnail, and then we will get back to LSU USC. I see a lot of people talking about Garrett Nussmeier in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, so that's how we're going to start the 4 o'clock hour. Want to give some thoughts on Nussmeier's day. It was a tale of 2 halves for the LSU offense, but what about for Garrett Nussmeier? So want to get into a little bit of that, and like I said, we will do that. We will do that to start hour number 2. Right now, break. Come back and close out hour 1 with some notes on the Saints. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add mountain.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com. Y'all, it is a great time right now to get on by South Point Volkswagen, especially if you have if you're looking for a new vehicle, want to get the best deal for your trade-in. Right now, the trade-in and trade-up event going on at South Point Volkswagen. They have amazing deals. You can drive away in a Taos right now, the compact SUV, 0% for 60 months right now at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com. Also great deals on Atlas and Crossport. They want your certified pre-owned vehicles, so get on by and trade them in at South Point Volkswagen.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here, Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Saints game week. Saints-Panthers from the Dome, noon kickoff on Sunday. Saints are a 4-point favorite in the game. They hit the practice field today to begin preparations for Carolina. A couple of notable things to come out of Saints practice today, both dealing with injury. Let's start with the return, and that was the return of Nick Saldiveri back at practice. Obviously, Saldiveri, you'll remember, running with the ones at left guard at the start of camp, goes down with the injury, enter Lucas Patrick, and now you finally see Saldiveri return. That's a big step in the right direction. The offensive line for the New Orleans Saints, obviously under a microscope. We know that. It's the weakest unit on the team. Dennis Allen has just continually said, well, we have 2 guys that we feel good about, and his name's Cesar Ruiz and Eric McCoy, and that's it. You don't know what you're going to get from Trevor Penning at right tackle. It's certainly the returns haven't been great from him at tackle in period in the NFL, but even throughout preseason. Now, granted, there were some things that, week to week, it did improve. Can he take that and go forward into the regular season? You'll see. But having Saldiveri come back, look, it's going to be Lucas Patrick's job here in the opener for sure, just because Saldiveri is slowly going to work his way back. But to have him back at practice is huge. It gives you some depth for sure, and a guy who you looked upon at one time as your starter, of course, before the injury. So that was definitely notable. The other thing that was notable was Willie Gay was absent from practice today down there, I should say, in Metairie. And after practice, Dennis Allen, when he met with the media, did say, and thanks to Ross Jackson, our guy, of course, LouisianaSports.net, for this, mentioning that Allen did announce that it's an injury that kept Gay sidelined for practice, but declined to share any specifics. What the injury was, injury timeline, any of that. Now, the caveat with that is you'll find out in short order. We'll see if he's out there tomorrow, obviously, or on Tuesday, I should say. But even so, on Wednesday, injury reports come out, the first injury report. So you'll get, you'll get your update there. I think what you'd love to see Willie Gay out there and be able to play. And again, it's pure speculation. It's Monday of game week. He could absolutely be out there on Sunday, especially with what you saw from him in the preseason. He had a really good camp as well. The prospects of Willie Gay have been really exciting, but obviously you know what you have in DeMario Davis, and Pete Werner had a really, really good camp. Bringing in Willie Gay to compete there, to kind of really push Pete Werner, certainly seems to have worked. They signed him to the extension as well. So you feel good at linebacker, but man, just you'd hope that this is nothing long-term with Willie Gay, so you can see him out there. The other thing that I guess is kind of interesting from Dennis Allen's media availability earlier today is they said that they've made a decision on Clint Kubiak where he will call plays, sideline or the booth, but he's not making the decision public before the game. I don't really understand that. I don't think that holds any competitive advantage. Is the plays that he call, are they going to be executed? That's what matters. I don't think the Carolina Panthers are like, ooh, Clint Kubiak's going to call plays from the sideline. We've got him right where we want him. Like, I don't think that's a conversation that's happening in Carolina. So I don't really understand your competitive advantage there, but whatever. You do UDA, go for it, man. I mean, sure. One other quick note, the Saints did work out an former XFL wide receiver. Again, if you want the full read on that, Ross Jackson has a piece up at louisianasports.net. It's right there on the homepage. We'll see. Receivers obviously been in a position for the Saints that has been much in flux so far, and you haven't really seen anybody step up outside of Olave and Shaheed. So we'll see if this is the guy. Hour 2 of AFR is next. Stay here.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Of the season capped off tonight with 10th-ranked Florida State looking to rebound from the season-opening loss to Georgia Tech, hosting Boston College, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Georgia edge rusher Michael Williams, grade 2 ankle sprain, questionable Saturday against Tennessee Tech. Florida highly touted quarterback DJ Lagway taking first-team reps today. Status of Graham Mertz uncertain against Samford Saturday, was knocked out of the 24-point home loss to Miami with a concussion. The worst home loss in Gainesville for coach Billy Napier.
I think it's just a challenge to each part of your building, each person. Not only football players now, we're talking about staff members as well. And you got to use it. And I think that's the key.
NFL Bengals receiver Jamar Chase continues to not practice as he awaits a contract extension. His availability remains up in the air for Sunday's season opener. 49ers receiver Ricky Pearsall on the non-football injury list 2 days after being shot in the chest during a robbery attempt. He is out at least the first 4 games of the regular season.
Hi, this is Evan Cohen. Join us Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern for Unsportsmanlike. Week 1 of the NFL season is here. Jamar Chase still not practicing. Where is Hassan Reddick? We'll get all of the inside info leading into Thursday night's opener with Adam Schefter. Tuesday, 6 a.m. Eastern on Unsportsmanlike. ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour number 2 after further review, off and running. Musso in for Moscona. The boys are on a bird back from Vegas. Matt is back in the chair tomorrow. We've been talking plenty about LSU's 5th straight season opening loss, this time falling 27-20 to the USC Trojans. We got nothing but LSU football on the rundown, the rest of the show as well. Jacob Beck, Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and glad to have you with us here on this Labor Day. We are open. Glad you're taking time to join us on this holiday. Spend your holiday with us. Hope you've had a great day off if you do have that luxury. So far in hour 1, when we recap the game, there wasn't much positive really to talk about there. We did talk some positivity with the defense. A lot of people come down hard on LSU's offense in loss Sunday night, and a lot of it's warranted, and we're going to get into plenty of that actually here in this hour, whether it's red zone, whether it's the rhythm, the running game. The running game. But one aspect of the offense that's caused a little bit more, for a lack of a better term, controversy than I thought it would be the play of Garrett Nussmeier. And I want to examine Nuss's day a little bit here, if we could, in this segment. So Nuss comes out in that first half, and he's incredible. The thing that stood out so much in that first half was the decisiveness from Garrett Nussmeier. And it never looked too big for him. He went through his reads very well. You saw a lot of checkdowns, whether it was to the running backs or to Mason Taylor, and loved that. Like, the idea of Mason Taylor just living kind of as the check down for Garrett Nussmeier is something to get excited about. And he looked in complete control. That was the story of the first half. When you got to halftime report on the broadcast or anything like that, was the 2 quarterbacks, Miller Moss, Garrett Nussmeier. And that's ultimately where kind of the division comes in with Nuss, I think, in this game, and it has to do a little bit with Brian Kelly in saying that Miller Moss outplayed his quarterback, and we'll get to that. But overall thoughts from Brian Kelly on Garrett Nussmeier. Here's what he had to say after the game on his quarterback in start number 2.
I mean, I think Garrett did some really good things. I think there's probably a couple that he would like back, like any first game, really, against a good opponent. I mean, I think he did enough for us to win the football game. But, when we needed a couple of plays, I think there's a couple of things he'd like to do better. But he's going to be really good for us, and he'll get better from today.
The part I like about that is he says, like any first game. And that's the thing we have to remember with Garrett Nussmeier. It's still start number 2. And overall, it was really good. 29 of 38, 304, 2 touchdowns, and the interception. But the interception was inconsequential. The game was over. Garrett Nussmeier was decisive. Garrett Nussmeier was accurate. Garrett Nussmeier went through his reads very well. And Garrett Nussmeier protected the football. And in the 2 starts that you've seen from him, he's done all of those things. Is there a few he'd like back? Absolutely. Was it perfect? Of course not. Do I think that Miller Moss outplayed Garrett Nussmeier? I do. But it's not any fault of Garrett Nussmeier. Miller Moss just made some really, really good plays when he had to have them. I shouldn't say it's not any fault of Garrett Nussmeier, but it's what I should say there is it's not an indictment on the way that Garrett Nussmeier played. That Miller Moss, to use Brian Kelly's words, outplayed his quarterback. When I think of one that Nussmeier would really want back, the one that jumps out is the throw to Aaron Anderson late in the game down in the red zone where Nuss missed him. He just missed him. He threw it into the ground. And if he hits Aaron Anderson in stride there, he probably scores a touchdown. And you probably have a lead. So yes, you would want that one back. But outside of that, the only other thing I'd point to in the second half, I thought Nuss got maybe a little quick. Where LSU's pass protection all day, all night, I thought was really solid. And I thought Nuss had plenty of time for the large majority of the night, really all night. And there were just a few where it was a snap, pat, and the ball was out and kind of off his back foot a little bit. I thought he got a little hurried from time to time. But one throw that I can really point to, they go, okay, he'd want that back, and maybe a few where he got hurried. Other than that, you had a drop off of a tipped ball and an inconsequential interception late in the game and another 300-yard passing. That's the takeaway, is what Brian Kelly said at the end of the cut. That's the takeaway. He's going to be really good. Even though you didn't have the play late that you wanted, even though you didn't see him lead you on the game-winning touchdown drive this time, you have seen that already in 2 starts. The takeaway is what Brian Kelly said. He's going to be very good. Your confidence should not be shaken in Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier did plenty for LSU to win this game. Garrett Nussmeier needs a little bit of help. And that's got to come in the form of a running game from LSU. And we're going to get into that in the next segment. But that is the key to LSU's offense reaching any semblance of the heights that they had in 2023 is having a functional running game. And you just didn't have that on Sunday night, and it forced Garrett Nussmeier to really kind of have to be perfect. And when you do that, that's when you're looking at him having a few throws that maybe he'd want back. Or maybe getting a little hurried because he feels like he has to make the play. But overall, I thought Garrett Nussmeier played really well against USC in the opener. And there's just a few plays left out on the field on both sides of the ball for LSU, really. That's the difference between winning and losing in a one possession game. This is an interesting conversation that I'm glad Joseph Lee just brought up in the Bayou 4 YouTube chat. It says Nuss will come back next season. I'm not so sure of that. I'm really not. This is one game. He continues to improve. It continues on this ascent, like this track. That is a far from a guarantee that Garrett Nussmeier is back in 2025. Could it serve him well to come back? Of course. It's the example that everybody's thrown out. The second year for quarterbacks at LSU has just been really good. People have gone back to Zach Mettenberger with that. But there's nothing that I really saw last night or Sunday night from Nuss where I'm just like, yeah, there's no way he isn't back in 2025. There's still absolutely a path for that guy to move on after this year. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as LSU goes. So in 2 starts, you've seen a game-winning drive and 2 300-plus yard games, and he's protected the ball. He keeps going on that track. You're going to look at a day 2 pick in the NFL draft, and you best believe he would take that. So we'll have to wait and see. He'll get plenty of opportunities to right some of those wrongs at the end of this game throughout. LSU's got a pretty tough road ahead. We'll get to that when we talk about what's next a little bit later on in the show for LSU. So Garrett Nussmeier, there's kind of my thoughts. Thought overall very good, and I have more confidence going forward because that is my thing with Nuss. Is it's like, okay, just continue to make the play that doesn't lose you the game, and he didn't make that play. Like Nuss did not make a play that lost you the game against USC. The problem is this time out, he didn't make the play that won you the game either. But that's okay. That's not going to happen every single time. So that's why when you look at it, from what Brian Kelly said at the end of the game, where it's Miller Moss outplayed our quarterback in that perspective, yeah, he did. But Nuss has plenty more opportunities. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Red zone. Boy, that's been a hot topic. And we're going to pair that with the running game. And mainly because of a quote Brian Kelly gave after the game. Stay here for that. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows.
After further review.
Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Man, if you're driving on I-10 from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, there's 70 Rouse's. No matter where you are, there's one near you. So if you need to make groceries for your mom and them, you go to Rouse's. You want to save money, you know what you do? You go to Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. Or you know what you do? You look for the little weekly ad right there, see all the different special items, all the sales items, how you can save money over at Rouse's. Need dinner plans tonight? Don't have dinner plans tonight? Don't feel like cooking? No worries. Let Rouse's take care of it. They got something for everyone in the family. Their hot bar is fantastic. Hot and boiled seafood options. They've got grab-and-go sushi. Go make your dinner plate. It's Rouse's. Something for everyone there. And, of course, all your adult beverages, everything you need for the entire family. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have.
Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
Back here after further review, Musso in for Moscona here on this Monday, presented by Relief Windows, continuing to recap LSU's season opening loss to USC in Vegas on Sunday night. And a major topic coming out of that has been the running game and LSU's performance in the red zone against USC. And I link these two together because of a quote from Brian Kelly's press conference after the game. Brian Kelly was asked after the game, LSU ran for 117 yards against USC, no touchdowns on the ground. Brian Kelly was asked after the game about struggles in the run game and how it impacted LSU's offense.
Look, we could sit here and we could go and look at a million different things, but we had over 400 yards in total offense. We weren't able to put the ball in the end zone when we really needed to. So this is much more about being a much better and efficient offense in the red zone than it is the failings of the inability to run. We ran the ball well enough to set up everything else that we needed to do. Do I want to run the ball better? Absolutely. There's no doubt. I think our execution needs to get better. But having said that, we ran the ball well enough to win this game. But you can't win it if you don't score touchdowns in the areas that we won or come away with nothing from the 3-yard line.
Okay, so let's start with the red zone portion of this. LSU on Sunday night was better in the red zone than they're going to get credit for. They were. Like that is not, were they perfect? No. Did they get nothing from the 3-yard line? Yes. You also could have kicked a field goal in that situation. You chose to be aggressive. That's fine. You make the decision. We're not going to go hindsight on it or whatnot. You chose to be aggressive, go for the 7 points. You didn't execute from the 3-yard line, and you got nothing. That is a miss. 100%. You want to execute better in that spot. You didn't. You get nothing. You, like Willy Wonka, you lose, you get nothing. Good day, sir. But that's LSU's only non-score in the red zone. LSU was 3 out of 4 in the red zone, and 2 of those 3 were touchdowns. You had the 19-yard touchdown pass to Kyron Lacey, the 13-yard touchdown pass to Aaron Anderson, and then you had to settle for a field goal inside the 15-yard line. But you are better than you're getting credit for in the red zone. Would you have liked to punch it in from the 3? Of course. Would you have liked to got another touchdown instead of having to settle for that chip shot field goal inside the 15? Of course. But you're not going to score touchdowns every single time you're in the red zone against great teams. So you need, to use Brian Kelly's words, complimentary football somewhere else down the line. And this is where I'm going to push back on the running game, where he says we ran the ball well enough to set up everything else we wanted to do. We ran the ball well enough to win. In the grand scheme of things, sure. When it really mattered, no, you didn't. LSU, in that first half, when they were dominating time of possession, sure, you ran the ball well enough, and it was setting up everything you wanted it to do. Your time of possession, along with every kind of thing else of your offense, went into a hole in the second half. Early in the game, LSU had a 12-yard run from Josh Williams in the red zone. You know what the longest run in the red zone the rest of the night was? 3 yards. LSU, when you have the opportunity to put the game away, we talked about this sequence earlier in the show, to lead the show, as a matter of fact. When you had the opportunity to put the game away, you couldn't run the ball. That second drive, the one you went 3 and out on and had -7 yards, the first play was a -5-yard run. That's when you needed to be able to pound the ball behind your offensive line, and we're going to get there. And you couldn't do it. That's not running the ball well enough to win, in my opinion. It's crazy to look at LSU with 117 yards rushing and then look at USC and say, man, when you really break it down, USC ran the ball well when they needed to and ultimately ran the ball better than you, because they got it done when they had to have those tough yards, and you didn't. And it also hurt your time of possession in the second half because you weren't just able to salt the game away there. Yes, you didn't get in the end zone every single time you needed to. But in half your trips into the red zone, you did. And the other one, you kicked the field goal. Do you want better than 50%? Sure. But you're not going to have that every time. LSU's inability to run the football consistently, because John Emery gave you a spark there, man. Boy, he gave you a spark in the third quarter. And it was awesome to see. And I have some time bookmarked to talk about John Emery. But it ultimately wasn't enough. So LSU's inability to run the ball, establish the run downhill consistently on Sunday night is the biggest disappointment I have in that football game from a aside obviously from you not scoring enough points to win. And it's solely because it's all we've heard. It is all we've heard. LSU talked a lot about their run game heading into this game, all throughout the offseason. And this isn't just, for anyone to try to come down on Will Campbell for his comments. This isn't a Will Campbell deal. This goes all the way back to March 7th with Brian Kelly, the first time he met with the media in spring practice and was asked about replacing Jaden Daniels' rushing yards. Do you remember what he said? He took it to the offensive line and said, there's playmakers on the offensive line. On offense, it's about featuring your playmakers. We have playmakers on the offensive line, and we want to feature them and let them open up holes and control the game in the run game. That did not happen. And you were facing an undersized defensive line. Talented guys who played very physical, and they deserve credit. I don't want to take any credit away from USC. They were more physical than you in the running game, in the trenches from a defensive line to an offensive line perspective. I don't think that is even debatable. What it is disappointing because you are supposed to have the best offensive line in football. And they have that capability, and maybe they will get to that point, but they weren't there on Sunday night, and it was very disappointing. And it led to struggles in the red zone. It led to struggles offensively in the second half with time of possession and being able to salt the game away and put it away. All of that goes together. Yes, points are the most important part, but running the football is part of getting points. And outside of one run, 12 yards in the red zone, you averaged about 3 yards a carry when the field's shortened. When you need to be able to be physical and get those tough yards, you couldn't do it. That's a little concerning. And you could say it's one game, and that's fair, but also it's not, because at times when LSU tried to run the ball sans Jaden Daniels in 2023, you had a little bit of issue getting things going at times last year. And you're looking at the same offensive line now with DJ Chester, who I thought actually played very well. Not a lot of errant snaps. He had the one snap infraction, but other than that, handled himself great in his first start. That's just an aside. Sorry for the mini tangent there. But I was just very disappointed to see that from LSU in the run game after everything that we had heard. So that's going to be under the microscope a little bit going forward, because I got news for you. And again, I don't want to take away anything from USC. They played really hard and they were really good up front against you. But you're going to see better defensive lines. When you go to College Station and face Texas A&M, that's a much better defensive line than USC. When Ole Miss comes into Tiger Stadium, that's a better defensive line than USC. Are you going to be able to run the ball in those games? That's a question that has to be answered. They have all the capability in the world, all the talent in the world on the offensive line to be able to make this happen. They just have to go make it happen. And if you do that, you'll see an increase in points in the red zone. For sure. Because you have talent at running back too. Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson, they are more than capable of anchoring this running game. And what you saw out of John Emery is incredibly encouraging going forward. But it's going to take a little bit more work. A little bit more work for LSU in that aspect. So, yes, to bring it full circle, red zone run game conversation, did you execute to the level or the standard that you want in the red zone Sunday night? No. You left points on the field and got nothing from the 3 and had to settle for a field goal. But even in doing so, you had an opportunity to put the game away late in the third quarter. And your inability to salt it away with the run weighs pretty heavy there too. So they go hand in hand. And they were both really big issues. And I focus more on the running game because of all the talk we heard about it all off season long. From players, coaches, media, everyone. We all raise our hand in that. And that definitely wasn't up to the standard that I know they hold This would be an interesting time to be out of practice and hear Brad Davis get back to work coaching those guys. Because that's going to be some tough love coming from Coach Brad Davis to his offensive line as they look to correct some of the mistakes and establish the run game going forward here this season, because they're going to need it. I said it earlier in the show. I'll say it one more time. That's the only way LSU's offense is going to reach any semblance of what they had last year, is if they can establish a consistent running game with Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson, John Emery, and those guys behind that offensive line. Can they do it? We'll continue to get our answer in weeks to come. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. One more really key note to hit on offensively, and it's the second half and where did the offense go, particularly Kyron Lacey. That's next on AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Talking to all y'all over in Lafayette as well in the 337. Darren James has an office over in Lafayette. If you need to sell your home in the 337, you need Darren James. The number 1 realtor in the state of Louisiana. The number 14 realtor in America on the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That came out just a couple of weeks ago. I'm so proud, so fired up for Darren. I've told you for years that he's the best. And Darren has a way of making you feel like, despite all the volume he does, that you are his only client. He's exceptional at the entire process of communicating throughout and getting you results. Number 14 in America on the transaction side. It's Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Parish Restoration. Parish Restoration. I've told you before about Mold Zero Pure Restoration. Now, Parish Restoration, all the same thing. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Parish, Jim Woodworth, who I've told you about for years now. Jim Woodworth merged with my guys Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio, all under the Parish umbrella. So it's Parish Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog. It's been actually pretty remarkable to hear some of these stories of people have put out to bid, for remediation contracts, and they get the number from Parish Restoration, and they'll call and say, "Is this number right?" And they explain why. I say it often. It is a more cost-effective, more efficient way, and also of remediation, and also because it's a dry fog, you're not cutting sheetrock or pulling out carpet or taking things out of your home or your place of business. They spray the fog, they let it dwell, it dissipates, you're back in free and clear and mold-free. It's Parish Restoration. ParishBuilt.com.
Rolling along here, hour number 2 of After Further Review. The Tigers and the Pros to close the hour. But one more kind of note to get to on LSU in the USC game itself. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll kind of turn our attention to more bigger picture. What's next for LSU? They have 11 games left, obviously. What can they get out of this season? You obviously look dropping the opener, now a 12-team playoff. What does it factor in? Does LSU actually have a path there? We'll talk about that a little bit and what the rest of the year might look like for them. And I've seen a lot of people, obviously, as well, talking about scheduling, so kind of want to give a thought on that, too, in the 5 o'clock hour. So we'll kind of, like I said, last kind of like thought on the game itself, and then kind of move into a little bit of a bigger picture with Tigers and the Pros sandwiched in between. So what I want to talk about here is the second half for LSU offensively. And it's twofold. One is the offensive rhythm, and two is the disappearance of Kyron Lacey. Let's start rhythm. LSU, we mentioned it kind of earlier in the show. We were talking about Nuss. LSU came out electric. I mean, I told you I did like this thing on LSU Daily, 3 things from the defense. We'll also do it for the offense. And one of the things was how early could Joe Sloan and Garrett Nussmeier get into rhythm. Keep in mind, this is only the second game for them as quarterback play caller. And if you think back to the ReliaQuest Bowl, it took a minute. LSU's offense started slow in that game. But man, towards the end of the second quarter, and then when you came out of the halftime locker room, they were a well-oiled machine. And it's ultimately one of the things that led you to be able to have that comeback and win that football game. So, could they get into that rhythm quicker this go-round? And the answer was yes. Because LSU came out, great, drive right down the field. You didn't punctuate the drive, fine, but you drove right down the field. You spread the ball around so much. Like, that was so awesome to see. I tweeted it at one point during the game. It's like, everyone asked, how's LSU going to replace Neighbors and Thomas? And LSU's answer was, throw the ball to everybody. Just throw to everyone. 10 players, y'all. 10 different players caught a pass. That's another great thing that Nussmeier did. He spread the ball around. But also, from a play calling standpoint, you got so many different guys involved. It was all in rhythm. You weren't, running all over USC in the rush game, but it was enough to set things up, as we kind of talked about in the previous segment. Time of possession was firmly in your favor. And then in the second half, it goes away. And that's odd. And it's going to be an interesting adjustment to watch. USC clearly adjusted to things LSU was doing, and LSU couldn't quite get back on track. You look at LSU in the first half. They didn't have 1 3 and out. Not 1 3 and out for LSU in the first half. You go to the second half and, got to close that out. You have the 2 3 and outs in the third quarter and then the 5-play drive as well. That was less than 3 minutes. So not technically a 3 and out, but you weren't milking the clock. And then your other drive outside of the touchdown to Aaron Anderson was the interception at the end of the game. So yeah, throw that away. That didn't really count. In the first half, LSU's longest drive, 7 minutes, 14 seconds. It was the first drive of the game. In the second half, LSU's longest drive, 3 minutes and 57 seconds. It resulted in a field goal. It was just a noticeable difference. And I think the thing we have to remember with Joe Sloan, while I think he's been a tremendous quarterback coach, he's obviously been tremendous in recruiting, he's still a young play caller. He's going to go through a few growing pains. Joe Sloan's going to be much more comfortable play calling role later in the year than he is right now. Like, it's going to get better. But it was just unfortunate that the rhythm was lost in the second half, when hopefully you were looking for it to get stronger. One thing I think contributed mightily to that is Kyron Lacey not catching a pass in the second half. Kyron Lacey in the first half, 7 receptions on 8 targets for 94 yards and a touchdown. He was without question your best weapon on offense. Kyron Lacey was targeted just twice in the second half and did not catch a pass. And y'all, that cannot happen. You have to figure out a way to get the football in that guy's hands. You just do. I understand USC is going to adjust and do everything they can to take him away. You think they weren't trying to do that in the first half? You think they liked seeing Kyron Lacey catch 4 or 5 balls on him on the first drive and we're just like, man, let's just let him keep doing that? No, but you found ways to get him the football. I'm not saying you have to throw him the ball. Get it to him on a quick out. Get it to him in a handoff. Just get him the ball, because he was a major difference maker. In that first half, Kyron Lacey looked every bit the part of a number 1 receiver in the SEC. Every bit the part. You cannot let that guy disappear in the second half. You just can't. That's unacceptable. You don't think teams were doing everything they could to take Malik Nabers away last year? And I understand Malik Nabers is a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I get it. But when you look at what Kyron Lacey looked like in that first half, he looked like he was trending in that direction. But LSU always found a way to get Malik the ball. And save me he had Brian Thomas opposite him. 10 different players caught a pass for LSU. 10. They were mixing it up. They had plenty of guys to take pressure off of him. There was plenty for USC's defense to have their hands full to keep their eye on with LSU's offense. It was very disappointing to see that. To see Kyron Lacey not touch the ball again in the second half after what he turned in. And I think that absolutely hurt your rhythm on offense. And then the other part, not to beat the dead horse, you couldn't run the football. So, I mean, that's that matters too. And that's, you talk about taking away the possession, time of possession, that's more than anything. But it's just such a stark difference. And it's odd. You don't normally see that. Normally you see what happened in the bowl game. Slower start offensively, and then you get in that rhythm later in the game, and you chug along and you go. But it's a noticeable difference in time of possession. in 3 and outs, in playmakers touching the ball, in all of it, first half to second. A lot of people, you've used the words conservative. I think maybe it can appear that way sometimes, but there wasn't no reason to be conservative. You were locked in a 1-score game the entire time. No team ever took a 2-possession lead in this football game. So that's just something to keep an eye on. I think Joe Sloan's going to end up having a great season as LSU's play caller and offensive coordinator. I really do. It's the same thing we talked about with Garrett Nussmeier. He will get better from this. But that's something you have to think about. And look, it wasn't a big talking point this offseason. It just wasn't. And quite honestly, it was surprising to me. You're replacing both coordinators. But one reason it wasn't a big talking point is you replace them with experience, for one. Not a lot in terms of Sloan calling plays, just the 1 year at La Tech and in the bowl game. But a guy who's been around and been in the system and all of that. And the other factor in it, the bigger factor in it, is Brian Kelly's success with coordinators is incredible. He just plugs them in and they go. And I think eventually that will happen here. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And unfortunately, it bit you a little bit there in the second half of this game. You lost your rhythm offensively and you lost your way. And ultimately, you didn't score enough points to win the game. All right. We're going to grab a break. Come back. One more segment to go here in hour number 2. We'll wrap it up with Tigers and the Pros, as we always do. And then, like I said, 5 o'clock hour, we'll kind of turn the page, put the game on ice, because quite honestly, I'm tired of talking about it. And we'll look to what's next for LSU and maybe some scheduling, and we'll throw some bouquets to Savion Jones and John Emery, because they were awesome. And for 2 veteran players, it was awesome to see them do that. So grab a break, come back, Tigers and the Pros, to wrap up hour number 2 of AFR Monday Show, presented by Relief Windows. Musso in for Moscona. Stay here.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all 8s. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code, because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G Team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year, every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2 of After Further Review. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
ESPN's Field Yates with a report earlier today that the Kansas City Chiefs have placed running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the non-football injury list that will require Clyde to miss the first 4 games of the season before he is eligible to return. Clyde, of course, recently has detailed his battles with PTSD stemming from a self-defense situation during his time at LSU. Missed several training camp practices and was not on the practice field with the Chiefs on Sunday as they began preparations for Thursday night's opener against the Baltimore Ravens. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Field Yates with the report today that Clyde is on the non-football injury list and will miss the first 4 games of the season. Major League Baseball action to get to. Jake Fraley and the Cincinnati Reds extra inning winners over the Brewers on Sunday. Fraley 1 for 3, his 4th home run of the season. We drove in a run as well. Hitting .272 with those 4 home runs is Fraley. 24 RBI. He's dealt with injuries, so he's been in and out of the lineup, but in there pretty steadily right now. An update for you: he's in action currently. The Reds and the Astros. Fraley currently 1 for 3 in that ball game as well. It's a single, and he came around to score. On the other side, Alex Bregman, unfortunately missing his 4th straight game with an elbow injury. They're calling it soreness. He's day-to-day. On Sunday was listed out but available off the bench. Today just kind of listed as out. Again, his 4th straight game missed. We'll keep you updated as that goes. It's a bummer, man. Bregman really kind of started to turn it on. He'd been on fire before that elbow started nagging him. even when he came back from the initial time he missed with the elbow, his first at-bat back, he hit a homer. So, I mean, he'd really been seeing it well. That is a little disappointing. Aaron Nola on the bump last night for the Phillies. 6 innings, 2 earned, 9 punch-outs in the ballgame. Threw 100 pitches yet again, did Aaron Nola. Got the no decision. The Phillies did get the win in extra innings, though, 3-2. It'd be great if they'd score some runs, give Nola some run support. He could have got win number 13. But all in all, solid outing there. Dylan Cruz and the Washington Nationals, boy, they wore it on the chin versus the Cubs on Sunday afternoon. Cruz 0 for 4, but other than that, did have some success over the weekend. Hit home run number 2, did Dylan Cruz over the weekend in Major League Baseball, and also had a nice outfield assist as well. Cruz getting on the board there with the outfield assist, so he's still trucking along. And that's Tigers in the Pros. All right. As we wind down hour number 2 here of AFR, give you a little bit of an update. Obviously, the guys spent plenty of time in Vegas here, so their flight was kind of midday today, so they actually should be getting in right about soon. So they're on their way back. That's why Matt is not here today. It's just a funky schedule, man. It's hard to do. You have to have the presence there. You can't not be at an opener of that magnitude in Las Vegas with all the fanfare around it, but with it being played on a Sunday, it's just, man, it's a tough go of it. It's a tough schedule. So, the guy, I know OTB did their show this morning, Charles and Jimmy. They come back tomorrow, but the flights didn't work out. So Matt will be back tomorrow. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
Remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. On this Labor Day, the college football weekend concludes with Boston College taking on 10th-ranked Florida State, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Seminoles certainly need a better effort out of their defensive line than they got in the season-opening loss to Georgia Tech, notes ESPN college football analyst Sam Acho.
Florida State has to get back in their gaps in the run game and move when linemen move on offense. Here's what I mean by this. Last week, Georgia Tech ran for 190 yards. Boston College does the same kinds of things when it comes to the run game as Georgia Tech does. And what we saw from Florida State is we saw players miss tackles, we saw players out of position, and we saw players with bad technique with their eyes. And that's the issue that actually can be solved.
BC tonight plays its first game under new coach Bill O'Brien. NFL Bengals receiver Jamar Chase continues to not practice as he awaits a contract extension. His availability remains up in the air for Sunday's season opener. 49ers receiver Ricky Pearsall on the non-football injury list 2 days after being shot in the chest during a robbery attempt. He's out at least the first 4 games of the season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
Hour number 3, after further review, off and running here on a Labor Day. Glad you're spending some of your holiday weekend with us. Wish the topic of conversations were a little bit more better. Just been kind of post-mortem on the LSU USC game all day. Today did have a little bit of Saints coverage mixed in there. Musso in for Moscona as the guys fly back from Vegas. Scone's back tomorrow. Jacob Beck filling in for me, Paul O'Neill, in his normal chair doing his normal deal. Video producing the show extraordinaire. Ooh, look, are the Bengals not going to have Jamar Chase for the opener? Just looking up at the TV, he's continuing his hold-in still. Why just pay him? Like, I thought that would have been established by now. Like, why? You're really going to run the risk of your best receiver not playing in the open? Okay, whatever. That's pay the man. Just give the man his money. He's awesome. Okay. Did you see the Beck? Did you see he wants one more penny than Justin Jefferson?
Was it a penny or a dollar?
It was a penny.
One penny.
He wants the same contract, but 1 penny more.
That's pretty good stuff. I
love that level of pettiness. So, Bengals, what are you doing? Pay the man. He's worth it. He's more than right. He's proven that. All right. Let's shift gears. We said, all right, we're taking the game and kind of putting it on the back burner. Let's talk about more big picture stuff now for LSU here in this third hour. What's next? Maybe some scheduling talk. And whatnot. And, of course, we'll wrap up with Outer Locks as well. One more game to go tonight in the opening weekend of college football. Boston College, heavy road dogs at Florida State. We'll see if Otter's got any plays on that game before we get out of here today. Where does LSU go from here? This is the 5th year in a row that we're having this conversation after week 1, as LSU has started 0-1, third straight year under Brian Kelly. You have 11 games left. Teams are allowed to improve. LSU will improve. Let's get that out of the way right now. What's the old cliche? You see the most improvement from week 1 to week 2, right? How many times have you heard that? If you had $1 for every time you'd heard that, you'd be able to pay Jamar Chase's new contract. So one more time. Teams are allowed to improve, and LSU will improve. LSU will be better when they tee it up and kick it off against Oklahoma in November in the final week of the season than they were Sunday night against USC. They just will be. But what happens in between that? What is realistic? Where can LSU actually go? Because you look at this and you have a 12-team playoff now. And that was one of the big things you heard about the 12-team playoff is, hey, one loss isn't going to cost you anymore. And while one loss doesn't cost you, it certainly makes it a lot more difficult, especially with that one loss coming in the opener. And here's the other part of that is you don't know how that one loss is going to age. Sure, USC looked really good. But are they going to keep that up throughout now in a new conference? Or is USC 8-4, 9-3? LSU has a long road ahead in these next 11 games. Ole Miss is going to come into Tiger Stadium, and they're going to be undefeated, and that's a really good team. The road trip to College Station is not going to be easy. Alabama coming in is not going to be easy. There is a chance you go play Florida with an interim coach, and we all know about the interim bump. That's on the road in the swamp. The circumstances around that game could change vastly. That game's not going to be easy, and it's going to be real fascinating to see what Oklahoma is. That's just a new team in the league. What the loss did on Friday, well, let me not go there yet. No, let me go there. What the loss did for LSU on Sunday night is it brought 8-4 firmly into play. It just did. Now, whether you believe that or not depends on what your expectation level is or was for this team coming in. If your expectation level was 10-2 and a trip to the college football playoff, you need to reevaluate that expectation. For LSU to go 10-2, they would need to go 7-1 in the conference. That is an uphill battle. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's impossible because of course it's not. Of course it's not impossible. It's also not likely. And I'm not counting on that. I had LSU at 9-3 this year anyway coming in. I didn't think LSU was a playoff team. You got a lot of questions and the schedule's not that manageable. It's not the worst schedule you've ever played, but it's not that manageable. But what I will say now, dealing with expectation and going forward is, and this is not going to be popular, and I understand that, but 9-3 has to be your floor this year. You cannot go 8-4. That would really suck. Because there were people who had a potential playoff expectation for LSU. And the other part about it is the year 3 conversation that we've had over and over and over again with Brian Kelly in year 3. And the sample size is large and it's right there, right in front of you. Man, it's been when his program takes off everywhere he's been. And this was the year. I mean, how many times did you hear 10 wins in the bowl game isn't good enough this year? It's what you heard in the offseason. From Brian Kelly, you heard it from Garrett Nussmeier, you heard it from Will Campbell, you heard it from the coordinators, you heard it from everybody. And right now, after this game, and again, like I said, you're going to get better. You're going to improve. But right now, after this game, you are closer to 8-4 than you are 10-2. And if LSU does go 8-4, that's going to feel like a giant step backwards. Because you went 9-3 the first 2 years and got the 10th win in the bowl game. You played for an SEC championship in that run. You had a Heisman Trophy winner in that run. And you were set up and poised to go for year 3 where things are supposed to take off. Sure, it would only be a 1-game difference in the regular season, but it would feel so much more than that. You have to get to 9-3. At least. And can you get to 10-2? Sure. Is it likely? No. It's not. Just be honest. It's not. The saving grace with that is it's the third year you're in this now. It's the third year you're in this. In 2022, when you lost the opener to Florida State, you brought a record into play that nobody really wanted to see. And you got better and improved, and you beat Bama, and you played for an SEC championship. You went 9-3. Last year, you had playoff hopes. Number 5 team in the nation preseason. You lose that game. You had to reevaluate, kind of revamp your expectation. But LSU, behind a generational offense, got to 9-3. What is that catalyst this year to get you there? And can that catalyst take you further than that? That's ultimately the question. But what can't happen is the step back. So they're experienced in this. It's the third year in a row they're going through it. And no one's going to be happy if you get there. I understand. But you'll be a lot happier with that than you would the latter, which would be 8-4, which is well in play. And as I said, I think you're closer to that than you are 10-2. And that's just not a spot you want to be, especially in year 3. And here's the caveat, the disclaimer, and we'll end on this with this conversation. Let's say LSU does go 8-4. No, Brian Kelly is not going anywhere, and no, he shouldn't go anywhere. Yes, it will ramp up a little bit more pressure on him and the program. But even in 2025, if they fall short of expectations, he still isn't going anywhere. But the talk would get louder. But you're tied to him. And the sample size of his career shows you over a long period of time, there is a lot of success to be had. But it's got to start right now if you're LSU. You stubbed your toe again in the opener. You've managed to put it in the past and right the ship the 2 years prior. Can you do that this year? And also, can you take it a little bit maybe to the next level? We'll see. We will see. The schedule, I mean, I don't feel any better about games I already thought you were going to lose. That's the part of this that's just like that. That's kind of the part that's twisting the knife, right? We'll see. 11 games to go, and they will improve. How much? That's what remains to be seen. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Everyone's talking about scheduling again. Week 0, the marquee game. What is LSU doing? Does it really matter? Let's dive into that next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries. Maintenance managers, turnaround coordinators. looking to hire someone to come do work in your plant, in your refinery, you get that proposal across your desk from Action Industries, make sure you take a long, hard look. Because my friends over at Action Industries are just awesome. They're awesome people, and they're a great local business that's been serving our community since 1982. So 42 years. Listen, there are some enormous industrial contractors. They're great companies, great businesses. But do you ever feel like your 100-person job isn't the most important thing to that mega company, that mega contractor? Well, with Action Industries, you would be their number one priority. You are getting all of their best people. And Action Industries, their safety record beats the industry standard. And look, the quality of their work is why they keep getting hired time and time again for into 5 decades now. It's Action Industries. Check them out online. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana, because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So you can walk in there. You can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
All right, as LSU drops their 5th straight opener, the scheduling conversation has reignited. This is not something that's new. This really goes all the way back to when they lost the opener to UCLA. Because you'll remember UCLA had played Hawaii in week 0 the week before and then trounces LSU, and everybody starts, well, hey, how come LSU doesn't play a week 0 game? LSU needs to play week 0. It'll take care of everything. And again, it happens in Florida in 2022 because Florida State had played a week 0 game. They played Duquesne and they beat you. And it's like, well, how does LSU play a week 0 game? Well, what's going on? Last year, obviously, there was no week 0 to be had there between either team, but you lost and it was ignited again, and it's happening again now. Less week 0 this go round in 2024, more, why in the hell does LSU schedule these damn games anyway? LSU needs to quit scheduling these games. Well, here's the one thing you have to remember with that. These schedules are made well in advance. Like, LSU didn't just all of a sudden decide, hey, let's play USC in Vegas. That was put on the schedule when Ed Ogeron was the coach at LSU. So it's well in advance. The series you have coming up with Clemson, well in advance. Now, do you want to talk about kind of what USC explored here, getting out of the game with LSU? Okay, you could explore that, but it's late in the game. That's probably not going to happen, just like it happened here. Week 0 is definitely something to explore. It's something that I would for sure be in favor in. Like right now, LSU's already tried in years past to move a game that's already on their schedule into week 0. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not doing that right now with Louisiana Tech or whoever else you have on your schedule next year in front of Clemson, that's a problem. That's a problem. Week 0 is not totally the answer, though. You've been fine in openers in years past without a week 0. What I'm more interested in is a conversation that's coming more and more to light now with the expanded playoff, and it's the future of these marquee games in general. You do this, you make money off the game, right? You get to go play and expose your program to different, audiences in different states and things of that nature. That's all well and good. In LSU's case, man, look, you get a primetime spot, and on Sunday night, you're the only show in town. That's awesome, whatever. But what is the real benefit of these games? And I mean in terms of your season. Not in terms of the check you get, not in terms of it, in terms of your season. What is the real benefit to LSU opening up against USC, or LSU opening up against Florida State, or UCLA, or Oregon in years past, or TCU in years past? What is the benefit? Especially now with the playoff. And I got to tell you, I don't see one. 12-team playoff, 14 playoff, I don't see one. 30-team playoff, don't see it. Michigan didn't play anybody with a pulse last season in the non-conference. They made the college football playoff and won a national championship. Alabama opened up with Middle Tennessee State last year. They won the SEC and made the college football playoff. There's plenty of examples. Plenty of examples of teams that don't risk anything in the pre-conference and go on to have great success in the season. Michigan's in a powerful league where they can get away with that. LSU is as well in the SEC. Now, in the case of Alabama in 2023, they did have Texas the week after that, and they lost that game. But for me, that's the way to do it. If you want to still have these marquee games, whether they're kickoff game or call it whatever you want, or a marquee on-campus series, that's the way. LSU in 2019, you opened up against Georgia Southern, kicked the snot out of them, and then went on the road to Texas. And by the way, that game against Texas was tight. Texas was actually never in a position to win it. They never had the ball, in the fourth quarter with a chance to tie or take the lead because nobody did against LSU in 2019. But is that game any different if you open up with it? Who knows? That was the greatest college football team in history. Maybe not, but we actually don't know the answer to that. But what we do know is you got a lot of kinks out in that opener against Georgia Southern, and you beat tar out of them. You started your season 1-0. That's the last time you won a season opener. Now, if you look at LSU's schedule, you're at Clemson in 25. Clemson's here in 26. And then in 27, you open with UT San Antonio. Give me more of the UT San Antonio to open your season. Because I don't see a benefit. I do not see a benefit to what happens in your season. And spare me, I know there's going to be people out there who say, you want to play and beat the best. No, I don't. I don't, because you play in a league that's going to take care of itself. You just do. That's going to take care of itself. You're going to play the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Texases and the Oklahomas and the Florida. Well, Florida stinks. But, you're going to play those type of programs year in and year out, the Auburns in the world. I don't need you playing Clemson in week 1. Is it going to be a cool series to see? Sure. Of course. Man, it's going to be awesome to see each of those teams play on each other's campus. That's really cool. I'm not saying you have to get rid of that. I don't want you opening with it anymore. Because there's just no benefit. As long as you're still playing these games against FCS teams, why make things more difficult on yourself? Am I jazzed to watch LSU play Nichols on Saturday night? Am I jazzed to cover LSU Nichols? No. I'm sure you're not jazzed to watch that game either. Would I love to see a schedule where it's all power opponents? Yeah. If everyone else has to do it. And right now they don't. So why make things harder on yourself? You think anyone's going to care? You win a national championship? No one cares about 2019. Man, it makes the national championship even less because you opened with Georgia Southern. No one cares. You think Michigan doesn't care? So, look, you're going to have a lot of people pound the table for week 0. Week 0 to me, that's not the sole answer. Sole answer is quit making it so hard on yourself when you don't have to. When not everybody has to do it. Why do that? I want the answer for the tangible benefit for your season. Because all it's gotten you lately is an 0-1 start. All it's done is put you behind the 8 ball. We'll see what they do going forward. But as of right now, you got Clemson to open up the season the next 2 years. And that program, no, they're not in a great spot either right now. But man, said it at the top of the show. And if you want the full thoughts from that, you can go back and watch it on demand or listen on demand. You've lost the benefit of the doubt here in openers now. you got to go prove it. I was talking to somebody earlier today. I was talking to Taylor earlier today, video producer of Off the Bench. Said, I'm at the spot now where I was during the 8-game losing streak to Alabama, where it's like you just don't get picked anymore in openers.
That's right. They traded the Bama curse for the opening game curse.
Exactly. It's like we all got to a point in that losing streak to Alabama where it's like we're never picking them to beat Alabama again until you do it. That's where you are in openers. Not picking you to win an opener until you show that you can win one again. What would go a long way to that is, scheduling Nichols as your opener. But for now, you have Clemson. We'll see how that goes. All right, grab a break. Come back on the other side. A couple more segments to go here on a Monday show. Otter Locks to wrap it up. We'll see what Otters got us betting on tonight. One more college football game here in week 1. Florida State, Boston College from Doak Campbell over there in Tallahassee. Mike Norvell's squad looking to bounce back from an ugly defeat over there in Ireland in week 0. And so we'll get Otter's take on that game and anything else. There's a few baseball games tonight as well. But when we come back, I want to talk about John Emery and Savion Jones. They both showed out in the game, both really great stories, veteran players. Kind of want to shine the light on that a little bit and look ahead to what might be coming for their season as well. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. If you are a business owner, if you're an HR manager, a VP, an ops manager, if you're the person in charge of hiring at your job, at your place of business, and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. And I want to remind you, Glow Resources, they're exceptional when it comes to skilled blue-collar workers and also white-collar divisions. Remember, Glow Resources has a full professional placement division. So we're talking about office administrators, executive-level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. Accounting, HR, marketing, managerial, supervisor roles. If you're having trouble finding those people and sometimes hard to fill roles, Glow Resources specialize. They recruit nationwide. For example, they had a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida to work the job in California. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online today. glowresources.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 9.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
For the last 3.5 years, I've told you, do business with someone you know. And that's still the case. It's just we've got a new company. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing, but it's all still the same people. It's me, it's Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales, all the way down to Christina in our office, who when you call, that's who you talk to, and the same friendly crews that come actually do the work at your home. It's our same team. We just started a new company, Parrish Construction and Roofing. You can give us a shout. We even have the same number, 364-1007, 364-1007, or parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Roof repairs, roof replacements, from the smallest residential repair to the largest commercial roof replacement. We do it all, and we do it friendly with a smile, and we are here, we are local, we are Parrish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know, parrishbuilt.com. That's parrishbuilt.com.
All right, rolling along here on a Monday edition, Labor Day here on After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Scona's back tomorrow as the guys make their voyage back from Sin City. We've talked a lot of LSU USC today, obviously. Some positive, some negative. Outlook going forward for the season, all those things. One thing we haven't really honed in on yet is the performance of 2 veterans in the game Sunday night for LSU that were just awesome to see. And I want to start with John Emery. John Emery, I mean, his story at LSU is well chronicled. John Emery enrolled at LSU as a freshman in 2019. One of 2 guys remaining from the national championship team, him and Josh Williams. That's a guy who's been through an awful lot in his career. 5-star out of Destrehan, like we know. We know the story there. And has dealt with eligibility issues where he's really had to work hard in the classroom, and to his credit has done that, never shied away from it, graduated, and did what he needed to do to be able to play football. And that was such a storyline going into 2023, mainly. And Brian Kelly was really candid about it, as candid as he could be. And the job that John Emery did to get eligible and to finish his classwork so he could join. I remember Brian Kelly had that quote where he's like, look, it was, hey, don't worry about football. You do school, and when you do that, football will be here waiting again. And John Emery got back to that point, and he was on the field, and then, you see him overcome that in 2023, and then, bam, in November, you have the ACL injury where he pretty much was going in for a touchdown, potentially against Florida, and he tears the ACL, and he's out, and then he enters the transfer portal, and has a few more things to get in order, gets them in order, doesn't want to quit, wants to come back, and pulls his name out of the portal, and is back at LSU, and recovers to the point where he's ready to go here in the opener. And you saw him get 1 touch in the first half. And then, man, when they went to him in the second half last night, he provided a spark for an LSU offense that needed it there in the second half when you were kind of down, when you were just out of rhythm. John Emery was really able to provide that for you a little bit. Now, it wasn't a deciding factor in the game, unfortunately. It wasn't enough really to be that. But just the beginning of kind of a redemption arc there for John Emery, where he's been through so much, his 6th year now in college, and coming off of a brutal injury to come out there and burst onto the scene with that, 41-yard run or how, I want to make sure I actually have that correct. How long, 39-yard run. It was awesome. And it opens the door and you're happy. You're happy for that guy. You're happy for that player that as a person more than anything. When you keep it football centric, you begin to wonder now, okay, what does that do for playing time for him now? When you're looking for something in the running game, like LSU is currently early in this season, is John Emery that answer? He looked pretty healthy in the game against USC. Again, provided the spark. Now, you continue to bring him along. Like, I don't think LSU is just going to all of a sudden be like, all right, John, here's 25 carries. Go get them. He had 10 carries. Now, you had the most carries on your team last time, but it was 10 carries. And you're still going to continue to bring him along slowly. But that performance by him, not only a feel-good story, absolutely has to put him in line for more playing time. And that's a good sign for your running back room. Take it back to the conversation we had earlier in the show. You're looking for something. You're more than talented enough in there. Like, you have enough talent-wise to get it done in the running game, whether it's along the offensive line or in the running back room. And now you add in John Emery's name to that. It just, the expectation could grow there, let's just say. So I'm fired up to watch John Emery a little bit more later on in this season as he continues to get back to 100% full strength. I mean, like I said, he ran, he cut, he did everything very, very well last night, and it was awesome to see. The other guy to really highlight is Savion Jones on the defensive side of the ball. Savion Jones was everywhere, y'all. Everywhere in that ball game on Sunday. 5 tackles, 2 sacks, and a pass defended. He was a menace in the backfield, and when he couldn't get there, he got his hands up. And that is a more than welcome sign. You remember the narrative around Savion Jones going into 23? That was kind of supposed to be the breakout year for him. But you look at him now, and you see the player that everyone hyped up for 23 happening early here in 24. I get it. It's one game. But he looks faster. He looks leaner. He looks stronger. Savion Jones was awesome. And again, it's a veteran guy that has been through plenty in his time at LSU. Senior. Has had to fight for playing time. Then breaks into the starting lineup, but still just kind of can't get over that hump. It was awesome to see him have a game like he did last night. He's been through a couple different defensive coordinators at LSU. Hell, he's been through 3, hasn't he? Defensive coordinators at LSU. And for him to be able to go out there and have that type of game on that stage is awesome. And I look even more forward to seeing him build off of that as well. You felt really good about your defensive ends coming into this season when you had Deshaun Womack and Braden Swenson and even Parrish Shand and then Savion Jones. And to see Savion Jones have the game he did, it should make you, same thing with like John Emery. It just strengthens that room even more. It's like, okay, wait, that's the guy we've heard so much about. There he is. Let's see more of that going forward. And I think you will. I mean, that is making a statement. That is setting the tone for a huge year. And it's what Savion Jones did. And, you know, the answer from Brian Kelly that got the most reaction from postgame was the one him slamming his fist on the table. And we're talking about the same things again this year. Again, talking about it again. That answer was born out of a question about Savion Jones and John Emery. It was Jacques Doucet that asked the question. And the question was along the lines of, man, you have veteran guys like that who have been through so much rise up and really, have games like they did. Does it make it sting even worse that you lost? And then that's what sent Brian Kelly into that, fiery answer. Because you had guys just play so hard, and there were other things that crept up and got you. Yet again. Things that bled over from previous season openers. So It's unfortunate, but man, it was awesome to see those two guys in particular, Savion Jones and John Emery, have the nights that they did. You just wish it could have been in a winning effort, because then it would really live on for a while, but not to be. Instead, hopefully it's just a launching off point for them to have great final years in the purple and gold. All right. We're going to grab a break. It's been a great show. Appreciate you all for being here on your holiday, making us a part of your holiday. Hope you enjoyed your holiday as well. We're going to grab a break. We are going to come back and wrap up a Monday edition of AFR. Otter Locks, Jimmy will be here. They are getting him and Hanny getting set to pack their bags and board a plane tomorrow morning, make their way back from Las Vegas. But in the meantime, you know Otter's going to soak every little bit out of Las Vegas that he can. See what he's got us betting on, see where our action is tonight. One final college football game. Otter Locks wraps up AFR next.
After further review.
And when it is 94 degrees outside, I can't even imagine spending time outside during the Louisiana summers without a swimming pool. We got one in our house. I'll never own a home without a swimming pool again. If that's your dream, to have a beautiful custom pool built at your home, or if you had a pool that quite honestly just needs some upgrading, needs to be remodeled, you need Duplessis Builders. I'm going to give you the website. It's duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Y'all listen to this show for long enough, you know one thing about me. Especially when it comes to contractors, I'm never going to recommend to you the guy that's the cheapest. I'm going to recommend the guy that's the best. And that's the case with Duplessis Builders. Derek Duplessis, they're not going to cut corners. They will not compromise building standards to save a few bucks. At Duplessis Builders, they will walk away from a job before they put their name on something that is not to their standard. It's Duplessis Builders. If you are even thinking about building a pool, you owe it to yourself to give Duplessis Builders a look. DuplessisBuilders.net.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, you know, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, you know. We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, wrapping up hour number 3. Wrapping up the show here, AFR on Labor Day. Been a great show so far, and we do it the only way we know how, with Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
All right, we head out to Las Vegas. Otter and Hanny, the last 2 standing from our crew out there in Vegas. Otter, how are we?
Doing good, brother, man. Just sitting here at the Wynn Race Book, got a little roll going here at Saratoga today in Del Mar. So, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, let's get right to it, Moose. Major League Baseball first.
Okay.
Oakland at home. Gilbert against Vito. Pretty comparable numbers pitching-wise. Oakland's got a better lineup. Seattle's been, they've been leaking oil for quite some time. You get a plus price, we'll go with the A's plus 25.
Okay.
All right. Leiter, we know of him from Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Has not been a good transition to Major League Baseball. At home tonight against the Yankees. Can't lay that run on the line. That number on the road, but we will put together a -1.5 with the Cubs money line. Should be playing a little over $2, 2-1.
Okay, so that was Cubs. You said Cubs money line, and I'm sorry, who was it on the 1.5?
Yankees run line.
Okay, Yankees run line and Cubs money line. All right.
Yes, and then tonight's football game. We're going to take the underdog in Boston College. Quarterback's back for BC. He gave Castellanos. He gave Florida State all kinds of trouble, and Florida State didn't look good. So and DJU, we've seen enough for him. So he's a little weak with his arm. So we're going to go with not the bounce back here, but we're going to go with Boston College plus the points to stay close.
All righty, so we got the A's plus 125 on the money line, Cubs money line, Yankees run line parlayed together, paying over about $2, and the Boston College Eagles plus 16.5 is what you're looking at, Otter?
Yes.
Okay, 16.5 BC and Florida State. All right, that's Otter Locks. Otter, y'all are back Wednesday, correct? Y'all are flying home tomorrow?
Yeah, back on the air Wednesday. Travel day tomorrow. Brian Kelly press conference first hour. Hunt's going to start an hour earlier, so we'll be back on Wednesday.
All right, Otter, safe travels to you and Hanny on the way back, and we'll see y'all when y'all back home.
All right, Moose. See you.
All right. Jimmy Otter Locks there, wrapping us up. So that is the other programming note, right? You're going to have your Scones back in the chair tomorrow. Otter and a Hanny, at least for the Baton Rouge audience, they are traveling back tomorrow. So Hunt is going to host their show, but with the Brian Kelly press conference being moved because Labor Day, that will be in its normal spot and live at lunch. So Hunt will begin an hour earlier, but you do have the Brian Kelly press conference wedged in between, kind of in there. So tune in. Obviously, the programming will stay the same schedule-wise. You'll just have different people in the chairs. I believe Taylor is actually hosting OTB tomorrow as well. So just a few change-ups. But Matt is back tomorrow, and he'll have a lot to say. You'll get. I hope you're not sick of hearing about LSU USC, because you're gonna have to get Matt's thoughts as well on the game. But it'll also be kind of a normal football week for us finally as well, with the Saints back in action, and Shea Dixon will be here tomorrow to join AFR in his normal 3:15 spot. Should have Sean Salisbury Sean Salisbury as well in his weekly football spot, back with us on Tuesdays as well. So it's off and running, y'all. It's not off and running in the way that we wanted it to be off and running, but it is off and running. Football season is here. LSU season underway. Saints game week. We will have wall-to-wall content. You know that. Been a great show here. If you missed any of it, you can find it on demand. Of course, AFR On Demand, Brett Goff, presented by Brett Goff, whether that's the podcast or on YouTube, the AFR LSU, AFR Saints YouTube channels as well. You can go ahead and find everything that you missed there. It's greatly appreciated as well. Get subscribed as well if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? These things have been humming for a while, and we have plenty of content still coming your way. I'd greatly appreciate you subscribing to LSU Daily as well. If you enjoyed the conversation today, you can find it at LSU Daily every day for me as well there. All right. That is just about going to put it in the books here for a Monday edition of AFR. One more time, Otters picks tonight. The A's on the money line, plus 125. Boston College, plus the 16.5. And we have a parlay between the Cubs on the money line and the Yankees, minus 1.5. That comes back about $2, Otter said. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Jacob Beck. Thank you, Paul O'Neill. Thank you all for joining us. Matt is back tomorrow. This has been After Further Review. Monday shows presented by Relief Windows. Join us again on Tuesday.
After Further Review.
Brought to you by Evermore, all natural, great tasting water. When you uncap a bottle of Evermore, that's the first time the product touches air. It's incredible. It's a natural well. It's natural artesian water. It's a well. It's on the North Shore. I went to their bottling facility. When you pull up on the left, you'll see the well is right there. They drill deep into the earth. They pipe it out right into their filters and their filtration system. Nothing is added. Nothing is extracted. It is completely pure from the earth water. So if you want a healthier option, if you want a healthier lifestyle, something healthier for your children, maybe you're an athlete that wants a superior form of hydration, Evermore, EVAMOR. If you notice, go to their website, you'll see Dak Prescott is one of their chief spokespeople. I mean, starting NFL quarterback is vouching for it. Check it out at great local retailers or order on their website at EVAMOR.com, Evermore.com, Evermore.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about insurance